Sherry G, and I'm back with some more Love and Marriage Huntsville drama. Um, I know I was going to do my review on this past Saturday's episode, but I just can't even do it. I sat down and started, making some bullet points and things that I wanted to go over, but I couldn't even move through it because I kept reflecting on all of the things that took place in real life with Martell, Ariane, all of the news that just broke out in these internet streets, especially in YouTube. And it's just been crazy. And so just thinking about all of that and then sitting back and just saying to myself, you know what, this is the craziest thing that I've ever seen. And to be this close to what's happening in these people's lives, although we don't really know them, it's just bizarre. It's one thing when you see something like this in the news, or you go back and you look at a Lifetime movie and it's a portrayal of something that actually happened, where they changed the names, they changed some of the things up, and we're seeing it later on a TV screen. But this is not a Lifetime movie. This is life. And this is for real. We're seeing things happen in real time, and it just blows my mind. The witnessing an alleged narcissist as he navigates through life and witnessing his control, the control that he has over Ariane is just so bizarre. Now, before I get into my commentary for today, keep in mind that the views expressed are alleged. It's of opinion and for entertainment purposes, learning, and all that jazz. Also, like this video if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So I'm going to talk about a part of the episode and try to tie some things in together because I had some questions when I was watching it, just watching how everybody was moving and things like that. My focus is going to be on Martel and Sheree. My focus is going to be on their interaction together because it was just strange. So when an episode first kicks off, we have Martel in one of those individual interviews, and he's starting off by saying that he's excited for this for this event where, he's displayed on the cover of Upscale magazine. But this is the first time he's done something this big without Melody being by his side. And I'm telling you, I was thinking about him saying that, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. And you're mentioning Mel's name. I don't think we've seen an episode yet where he hasn't mentioned Mel's name. But allegedly, he has another relationship now. And I don't know how this lady, this Belinda Sanders lady, if this relationship is true, and it looks like pretty much there is something between them, I don't know how she can move forward with him, knowing that he can't even speak without mentioning Melody's name. Because I feel, this is my opinion, that if they are in a relationship together, that he's always going to compare. She's taking the chance of him comparing her to Melody whenever she does anything that he doesn't agree with or something that's a little bit off. That's just my opinion based on what I know of the way these type of people work. The manipulation tactics that they use and things like that, and how they can cut you down with their words and make you feel subpar. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get to the event. When we're at the event, so Sheree and Martel walks in. She seems to be like super excited, like, oh, I'm here. It's just like this kind of air she has about her when she walks in. But I noticed that Martel walked in and he seemed a little off put. And I'm like, okay, well, she seems more excited than him. And I actually rewound it to kind of look at it again. And I'm like, he just seems a little off. Like, but this is his event. So I didn't know if it was nerves. And I still don't know if it was nerves. It was just my observation. It could have been nerves. But it just seemed kind of weird. And then the other thing was they started maneuvering through the crowd. However, they weren't maneuvering through the crowd together. She was working a crowd. He was working a crowd. She seemed to just be trying to figure out what to do with herself in my opinion, she seemed terribly out of place and just trying to just like figure it out. Let me find somebody I know. Let me, go over here and speak to this person. But he was going through the crowd. You think that this being the first big event that he's had, and she's supposed to be his lady at the time, even if it was for television, you think he would have played the part better and had her by his side. And in my opinion, she did look frustrated and perturbed during this event. When he took the stage, he got on stage and he kind of fumbled with his words. He's just not a speaker, but he did okay. He thanked the lady named Kim. I guess I don't know if she's his publicist or who she is. She helped him put this event together. But he did thank her. And I think that it looked like to me that Sheree thought he was going to call her up to the stage, and she looked a little taken aback that he didn't, and that he didn't even mention her. He didn't thank her at all, because you would think that them being together allegedly during this time, that she would have been encouraging him, because he would have shared his concern about, well, this is a big event and I'm just kind of nervous. As a matter of fact, the next day when they're at his house, she did tell him that he did good and, things like that. So it seems to me that they did have this type of conversation. So you think he would have taken an opportunity to ask her to come up on the stage and introduce her and tell everyone that, she was a big part of him being able to do this, because she was by his side and encouraging him. So when I watched this whole thing play out, I kept thinking, oh my God, he can't get with the program. He can't even pretend, because Ariane's going to see this. And so he has to make sure that Ariane realizes that this is just for TV. This was just for a paycheck. That's what I thought initially. So anyway, we move on, and it's the next day. Sheree comes to Martell's house to visit him. He's sitting on the couch, and he's looking like he's studying for his builder's license. That's the way they have it set up. She knocks on the door. Now, in my opinion, it seems like she'd never been there before. She seemed uncomfortable. This whole scene just seemed really, really awkward, because when he opened the door, she seemed really especially excited to see him, and she gives him like an embrace. And it was really, to me, like an intimate moment on her behalf, but he just seemed to be taken back by it. Like, I don't want to get this close to you. Like she had a disease or something. It was just very, very awkward. And then she asks something to the fact of, or she questioned, like, where do you want me to sit? And he said, well, you can sit right here. Like, it just didn't seem like she'd been there before at all. And so she sits on the couch, she puts the pillow like by her, and she's clutching the pillow. But I could tell it felt like she really wanted to like sit with him and be with him. And he was pulled all the way back. And it looked like he made sure he pulled all the way back. But anyway, this whole thing was just so off-putting and so uncomfortable. And I kept thinking again that this is awkward, and I wonder if he's doing this because of Ariane. But then, being in these YouTube streets, we find out that it's because his alleged real lady, Belinda Sanders, is actually at the event. So now I'm thinking, okay, so he really, really had to play it cool because Belinda's there. He didn't want to upset her, and he probably didn't want to upset Ariane either. Because let's just face it, I feel that he and Ariane are in a twisted type of relationship. I feel that he does have a heavy control over her, and she's not going anywhere. And so in my mind, if he is with this Belinda Sanders lady, I don't know how she's going to deal with that, because Martel and Ariane do have a child together, and allegedly now they have two. And so just for that, they're going to be in each other's lives for a long time. And Ariane, she can really act a donkey. So I don't know how Belinda is going to deal with this. Like, they're in two different cities, but it isn't going to take anything for Ariane to just jump in her car and go over there. And it wouldn't be difficult to find out where Belinda lived. So I don't know how she's going to go forward with this Belinda lady, because if we go back and listen to future episodes, previous episodes in this season, Martell is alluding to the fact that he wants to be married and he will probably put a ring on it by the end of this year. So I'm thinking it's this Belinda lady, only because I was nosy just like a lot of us, and I went through to try to find out who she was, and I found her, and then I pulled up like some pictures, but I was especially paying attention to this particular picture where on the bottom of it she's talking about this is her season, or this season in her life is called Focus, and she just put I just kind of sort of maybe feel like I'm about to meet my dear future husband, y'all. And then she has like a monkey covering up his eyes, and then the laughing faces. I feel like that's a subliminal message. Like she's already met him, but she's going to probably introduce him to the rest of us. Allegedly, this lady's been around for a while. She was there at the Madonna event, and when Martell went running and Destiny and Melody went running after him, Belinda started to go running after him. But she changed her mind when she saw Melody running after him. So I really need to go back and pay attention and watch that episode to kind of see what's going on, just for the sake of being nosy. But then again, allegedly they have land that they purchased together. So how is Ariane going to deal with this? How is she gonna deal with this? And they've been together a couple of times. Like they did that cooking thing together, and then they've been at some other event together. When Destiny was seen, the day that Martell was supposed to show up for court, and he was at lunch, having lunch in Atlanta with Destiny, Belinda was there. She was the lady at the table, and I believe it was her birthday that was being celebrated. I believe it was her birthday. Anyway, I could be wrong about that. But it is going to be really interesting to see how all of this plays out, because I'm just wondering, does Ariane know about the land they purchased together? And how is she going to act? Because like I said, she can really go off. So we've seen that play out on social media. What we've seen from her in the past was so different from what we've seen on this last live, where she looked like she was really, really scared. And I believe that's because Martell allegedly, and in my opinion, is getting on her about leaking that video, or leaking the information about that video, the alleged sex tape. I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He might not have heard anything until paying attention to what's happening here in the internet streets. That's probably how he found out about it. And then he probably forced her to do that live. But she did nothing to clear herself. She did nothing to clear his name. It's still out there. She made a feeble attempt at at trying to prove that she and Carson were associates at one time, but Carson's already alluded to all of those things. She's already told us all of those things. She even told us that they went to the comedy club together, and she even told us that they only seen each other once in person. So that was when they went to the comedy club. So anyway, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out. It's just a crazy web that has been weaved, and just believe that there's going to be a lot of unraveling here to come shortly. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. If you haven't done so, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because I will be back. Until then, ciao.